Today, I will be restoring a World War II era A11 military spec watch. There's no crystal and the case is in poor condition. As expected, the plating shows significant wear since it was made 80 years ago. The seller also disclosed that the balance staff may be broken. These watches were produced in the 40s for pilots and navigators in the U.S. Army Air Force, as well as the Navy and Marine Corps. And the A11 is one of the most iconic World War II military issue watches ever produced. The case on this watch is made from plated brass, as steel was generally reserved for the war effort, though one may find some A11 cases made from silver. Straps were either the one-piece or two-piece canvas variety. These A11s contain a feature known as the hack. What is a hack exactly? This is a mechanism inside the movement that halts timekeeping while in setting mode. Imagine a mission briefing and the officer states that the time on his command is to be set to exactly 0900 hours. Everyone in the room pulls the crown on their watches and sets the time to 0900. When the officer gives the hack command, everyone simultaneously pushes in the crown on their watches, resuming timekeeping from that exact moment, perfectly synchronized to the second. This is quite interesting. The main plate for this movement still has provisions for a sub-seconds hand. This makes a lot of sense since the A11 spec movement is actually a derivative of the same movement that's used in the Ordnance Department watches that do not possess a hacking feature nor a sweep hand. This particular A11 was made by the Waltham Watch Company in Massachusetts in 1943, according to factory records. Waltham was not the only company to produce watches to the A11 specification. Other manufacturers such as Elgin, Hamilton, and Bulova were all contracted by the US government to produce these timepieces. This little mechanism is the hack. I'll explain more on this later. The staff isn't broken, but the pivots are bent, effectively shortening the staff and making it useless. It will need to be replaced. I first used the Rex roller removal tool to safely separate the staff from the double roller. Next, I use this K&D staff removal tool to remove the riveted staff from the wheel without deforming the balance arms. The new staff is then riveted to the balance with a series of taps using domed punches, and then finished with a flat punch. Before going any further, I ensure the wheel spins free and true in the movement. I then tried to reinstall the safety roller in the same orientation as before to make poising go a lot quicker. An unpoised balance significantly rocks back and forth along its heavy spot as it settles to the lowest point. Weight is then added or removed around the wheel to compensate. Poise is achieved when there is very little settling movement as the wheel is rotated to any position. A properly poised balance is necessary for timekeeping to be consistent regardless of the position of the watch. I am laying the hairspring on top of the balance while the impulse jewel is centered between the banking pins. This provides a good starting point to bring the watch into beat. This little sprung lever slightly touches the balance when the watch enters setting mode. It springs back when the crown is pushed back in. Don't let the editing fool you. Honestly, I struggle to find the best way to install the train wheel bridge along with the third wheel. I was ultimately able to slide it between the two layers, but it wasn't my most graceful effort. Hacking was a common way to synchronize time prior to the advent of GPS. This is achieved by mechanically stopping the balance wheel from swinging so time can be set without time progressing. This was an improvement over other military spec watches, such as the ordnance watches produced for non-aviation personnel, which lacked the time hack feature. The case will be replated with nickel, but first all the old plating needs to be removed, the base metal polished and fully cleaned. I'm removing as little material as necessary to avoid smoothing over any design elements with sharper edges. In the end, there are still imperfections, but eliminating them would have required the removal of far more of the base metal than I was willing to do. I hope you enjoyed accompanying me on this journey as I restored a piece of important history. The A11 was indeed a watch that helped win the war. Thanks for fixing watches with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.